President Barack Obama has commuted an unprecedented 774 sentences during his presidency. 590 commutations have been granted this year alone. Many opponents of mass incarceration view President Obama's decision as a sign of progress, but still argue there's much more work to be done. Our next guest, Dr. Madeline McClenney Sadler, is the founder of the Exodus Foundation.org, which provides services and mentorship to individuals re-entering society and advocates against policies that contribute to mass incarceration. Still joined on our panel by Liz Copeland, Faraji Muhammad, and Lauren Victoria Burke. What is interesting to me about when we're talking about this mass incarceration discussion, you see it in the campaign where Donald Trump touts law and order, Hillary Clinton talks about criminal justice reform, but then when you start getting into the nitty-gritty of this, America still has this: throw them in jail, toss away the key, forget any sort of resources, forget anything dealing with rehabilitation, and then we wonder why folks come out, they somehow go back in, because then when you got the box that says you have to check, so you have a system that literally says you will continue to pay the time for the crime even when you've already paid the time for the crime.
It's a revolving debt. And so the tragedy is that, one of the tragedies is that there are 45,000 collateral consequences to having a record. And so you're right. What we're doing is counterintuitive. It doesn't work. Criminal psychologists across the board tell us that punishment does not work. As a theologian and ordained Baptist minister, I'd have to say that punishment is man-made, correction is divine. So punishing people just teaches them that brutality, violence, and escalating torture is a solution to conflict.
What has been interesting is we thought we were making headway to criminal justice reform. There's a Senate bill right now, but you have Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas who's been blocking it because he believes we don't put enough people in jail. Even though you have Republican governors who are saying, man, we're going broke.
That's right.
By constantly putting folks in jail.
That's right. We are. This is the Titanic. It's going to crash our country. We know by some estimates that at the current rate of reform, it will take 80 years to get our prison population where it was in the 1970s. And so, as you know, we're here today promoting our Time's Up, Let Me Go rally in front of the White House from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. I want all your viewers to come out and join us at Lafayette Park. We're asking President Obama to commute the sentences of all non-violent federally convicted persons and overcharged persons. There are 2 tracks to clemency now. The White House Office of Pardons and the Clemency Project are doing the best that they can, but we need more, and we know that the President can do it by executive order. Mr. President, we want to meet with you and help you do this before you leave office. That's what we're here for.
Now, here's what's interesting, and I'll bring our panel here, and we had a previous guest, and they were talking about, targeting these states and utilizing federal dollars, saying just what Loretta Lynch did, the Attorney General did in North Carolina. She threatened North Carolina by saying, you move forward with the transgender bathroom bill, we may go after your research dollars. What I don't understand, and I said to the person who was here, I said, you're pushing this thing. I said, show me the protest in front of DOJ. I said, show me where we're vocal on this in front of the White House. And my deal is, it's interesting how people still, but no, I don't really want to say anything. We have to be open and honest. People are afraid to be aggressive with this president because he's the first black president. And even with the commutations, I still don't understand why you say push harder. It's very interesting how it's like,
You know what, man, push harder.
I'm good.
So he's commuted almost 800 sentences. Granted 700 and something, almost 800 commutations. But there are 80,000 people who qualify as non-violent. Yes, in the federal prison. That's why we're here. That's why this can't happen on our watch. We have to live as if this is our last chance to get them out because they are dying in prison.
And pushing the president should involve the math, because if you take 80,000 and you times it by 45, $45,000 per person, we're going into the millions and millions of dollars. That's typically
$45,000 per person.
for everybody.
Got it.
And that's usually what the Republicans do, but we're not pushing him enough. We never have been pushing him enough, but at least I will say he is setting the record on the commuting.
And as far as like conservatives, I know a lot of people they kind of cringe when they hear this thing, but the Koch Foundation is pushing a lot of criminal
No, we've actually had him on the show.
It's very important for us. I believe in personal accountability and holding people responsible for their actions, but I have seen that the data suggests, it just demonstrates that African American boys, there's a heavier hand to them in schools with expulsions and suspensions, with being charged as an adult when you're a juvenile in the criminal justice system, and even having longer, heavier sentences where they're nonviolent drug offenses. And it's something that we should get involved in immediately.
How come the president is so hesitant about making a more aggressive stand, taking a more aggressive stand?
In terms of the commutations?
Yes.
So the current process limits him. You have to wait 10 years before you can apply for a commutation. Have no infractions while you're incarcerated.
Hold on. When you say the current process,
Right.
that was the criteria he established.
Right.
There is no, let's be clear, there is no constitutional criteria.
No, he doesn't have to.
for commutation.
He doesn't have to adopt it.
That was the process that they established.
That's right. That's right.
It wasn't a carryover.
And he's not.
No, he can do what he wants to do. He has the constitutional power.
The problem is that he's not been aggressive enough early enough. Has he been aggressive than other presidents? Of course he has. Everybody always wants to compare everything against everybody else. That's fine. Of course he has. But when you look at the numbers, we have 2.3 million people behind bars in the United States, and we're spending $63 billion a year. And that is crippling a lot of people's lives.
Time's up, let them go. That's what we're here to say today in front of the White House. And we want to meet with the president. We have a team of people that are going to make a proposal
What time?
other than 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Lafayette Park. We want everyone there with us. We have Andrea James. All of our speakers are formerly incarcerated people. Our commentators are our sponsors, and we want it's open mic for the family members that are directly impacted by this. You come and make your petition.
Yeah, and as conservatives always talking about reestablishing the family, it's important to bring our men back home. And that's not true. They talk about all families. Don't go there. That's not true. When we talk about making sure
All
that
families matter?
all families matter. All families matter.
Go ahead.
I am a prison abolitionist. We must dismantle the current prison system and replace it with a restorative justice system. It's happening in certain parts of the country. We can do this. It's an easy lift. If we can put a man on the moon, we can do this.
All right, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back. News One now, 60 seconds.
We good?